video, I mentioned comfort and how important that is. Wherever possible, you know, with a bit of knowledge and a bit of thought, you can kind of make a difficult situation less difficult. And one of the things that you do is, what I found what works for me, there's no real 100% right way to do it, just from my experience, this is how I do it. When I'm packing my bag, it's all about your center of gravity and where you're carrying most of your weight. Now a bag, this is a 65 litre bag plus 15, and when I'm carrying 35 kilograms or something, I want to keep as much weight as possible off my shoulders. Now to do that, you simply pack as much stuff, heavy stuff as you can down the bottom. So all the heavy stuff will weigh on your belt strap and on your hips rather than on your shoulders. Another thing that could make wearing a backpack uncomfortable is the way it's the center of gravity. Now the further your weight is from your back where it's resting, the more it's going to pull on your shoulders. And if you're stooping down or trying to put the backpack on, if there's a lot of weight up the top, it's going to be top heavy and it's going to be really hard to manage, and you'll fall over and all sorts of interesting things will happen. So the idea is, okay, you've got most of your weight down the bottom, and if you can, if there's any other extra heavy material, you put as close to the back as possible and leave all the lighter stuff to the front here, and obviously on the top here, which is, if this is heavy, you're going to have a really hard time with, you know, carrying it around for a long time. Well, to be honest, I could go on forever about the intricacies of what I thought through to actually get this pack to the way it is. But the reality is, when you're actually on trail, you will tweak things, and things will never be how you imagine in your mind's eye anyway. So all I'm doing is now just brushing over some just basic things, and a couple of other little things are left over. Is if you're walking and hiking in very wet environments for many days, of course you've got problems with your boots getting wet. Any sort of boots you wear will get wet at some stage, and it'll be really hard to dry them out. So you just got to accept they're going to get wet. If they get wet, you're going to get trench foot if you're not looking after your feet very well, and your feet could get really, really sore, you know, if they're soaked at the end of the day. So you know, that's why, you know, it's a good idea to take. I mean, you don't have to take you know, Crocs, but you know, my solution is Crocs. The reason is because they don't soak with water, they dry out easily and they don't smell, and your feet will dry out, will be protected in these, and they'll dry out. And I've hiked actually for hundreds of kilometers just with Crocs, so they're also good for hiking on kind of forgiving terrain. Another thing is, I've improvised. You know, I was talking about my aluminium. I would trust this improvised little tin billy can to an aluminium container any day. It costs nothing apart from the contents that are in it, and this is what I hope to actually cook most of my food in while I'm on trail. And a couple other little details that maybe one would want to share is on the plateau, on the Hargarden plateau, there aren't many trees. It's over 1,200 meters in Norway, so it's more or less tundra, and firewood is not very accessible. Most times if I don't get firewood, I'll just dive into my sleeping bag and put up with it. But there is a very distinct possibility that there are downpours and I get wet and soaked, and hypothermia is a real possibility out there, especially if you fall into a river. And then things get really dicey, and you lose your coordination and your thinking very quickly. That's why I've prepared an emergency little pack here, which is a fire starter kit. It's for one use only. It's simply some juniper wood I've chopped up, and I've put birch bark shavings in there, and a combination of cotton wool and Vaseline fire starter, and that will get a fire going no matter what the conditions. Hopefully to the stage where by the time that's going, the local wet wood, however much there might be around, it might be just shrubs in the tundra, it would be enough to get enough heat going to get a fire started. So that's the theory. Don't know how it will work, but I feel much better for having it with me.